An absolute crisis is unfolding before our very eyes in the Sahel region. We are seeing families being chased from their homes by extremist groups, starved by drought and plunged into despair by the ripple effect of humanitarian disasters. Things have never been this bad for the population in the Sahel states. Over the past month, humanitarian organizations have repeatedly warned of deteriorating security across countries of the Sahel, Burkina Faso, Mali, Nigeria, and the latest Togo and Ghana. But what does that actually mean for the population? This prompted West Africa Democracy Radio on the 7th of July 2022 to host a one-day deliberation to deepen conversations around security sector governance and countering radicalism in the Sahel, aimed at enhancing peace and security in the region. The gathering, which was held in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, had experts and major stakeholders working in the area of security, peace building and development in attendance. Setting the ball rolling, WADR station manager Mrs. Agnes John Tomasi said WADR was specifically working in West Africa with funding from the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, OSIWA, Senegal country office to implement a project titled Providing Quality Information to Promote Security Sector Governance and Counter Radicalism in West Africa. She explains what this means.
The focus on the Sahel is pertinent, as the region is besieged with so many issues, from a political climate that is unstable to security challenges related to natural resources, climate change and the environment, and radicalism. However, these issues are barely addressed in depth by its own media. In Nigeria, allow me to say something, for example, the persistence of violent conflicts between the military and the insurgents, Boko Haram, has caused a lot of instability and displacement of communities, conflict between communities across ethnic and religious lines, conflicts between cattle herders and local communities, amongst others, constitute a major hindrance to development and respect for basic human rights.
For his part, one of the guest speakers, retired Brigadier General Saleh Bala retired, said the increasing insecurity has held Nigeria to its knees due to the rising threat flowing from the Sahel region down to the coast. He was speaking on the theme, combating extremism in the Sahel. What strategies should we employ?
But then, at the core of this segment that I've been apportioned, one asks, what is extremism? You find us oscillating in the use of the terms radicalization, extremism, and terrorism. There is a commonality of character around us. So you will find me oscillating between radicalism and terrorism because they feed into the grand strategy or the policy which I am going to speak to at the end. Okay? So it is said that what is extremism? In the past years, with all the tragedies happening around the world, we understand that violent extremism knows no boundary and affects every society. Also in this case, young people particularly are the main targets of recruitment, strategies, and fall victims to the extremist violence. The root causes of violent extremism are multiple, but they are mainly individual socio-psychological factors, alienation and exclusion, anger and frustration, grievances, and a strong sense of injustice.
While other regions of Africa have had their share of crisis, the challenge of meeting numerous security threats has been particularly difficult in West Africa. Nevertheless, there are unmistakable signs that the sub-region is beginning to fully awaken to the need to tackle its security crisis. This next presentation focuses on security sector governance in West Africa, challenges and opportunities for the region.
In most countries, if I'm a police officer, probably a woman who is an immigration officer, trained, both of us we went to the same training school. For the 1 year, he goes to immigration, I stay in police. Meaning that if I have any question on immigration, I remember that he was my classmate, I'll call him. Even before I start writing, he would give me what to do. Now we have police academy, we have immigration, we have road safety. Nobody, they are not even friends. So how can they work together? Instead of working together, they are rivals. So immigration doesn't want to give intel to customs because they do not want customs to take them. Which glory are you? Please, save Nigerians. What happened in Kuje 2 days ago was obviously failure of intent.
According to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs (OCHA), more people are displaced than ever before across Lake Chad. As of the end of May 2022, countries in the Lake Chad Basin were hosting an estimated 5.3 million displaced persons, refugees and returnees seeking refuge from the region's complex and compounded crisis. About 75% of this caseload is based in Nigeria. Unfortunately, as of the end of May 2022, the number of people displaced by the crisis in the Central Sahel reached 2.4 million, with women and children accounting for more than half. According to Ms. Janice Malaki, Program Officer at Engaging Borders, the figures are disturbing.
Both threats have something in common. The targets are one, the youth, and two, the women. The youth entails a greater percentage of this population across Africa. And I'll quote what Pelsman said, "The future of the world belongs to the youth of the world, and it is from the youth and not from the old that the fire, life, warmth, and light of the world exist." If all of these values are taken away from us, then there is no need for our existence. If we succeed to give room to violent extremism and human trafficking, the situation will deteriorate to that there will be no need for human existence.
As security issues affect everyone, participants at the forum offered suggestions for how to proceed.
Public safety and security. And one thing came striking is impunity. I know the boss in front of me here has alluded to the high level of impunity across, not just in Nigeria, across Africa. And I'm sorry, it might relate to your profession directly. I have a friend who used to sell fuel, the known black market, and he went into the military because he was, in quotes, molested by the military, and he did not receive justice. And so what comes to mind is, how would you treat others?
If we're going to be embracing this topic, community, if we're going to be looking at security, in my own opinion, if we're going to be looking at security in this nation, community policing is something very, very vital and strategic. Why did I say so? I still maintain that it's very strategic because just like what's happened, it's not even up to it's not up to 2 weeks if I'm correct. There's a crime that happened at Kubwa, whereby a priest and the son dehumanized a lady. Is it? A priest, yes. And he's a priest. He's a priest, yes. And then pieces this lady and package her and dropped her in a dustbin, dump bin. What happened in that case? It was a Keke Napep man that took him, that unknowingly carried them to the dump site that made this matter known to the police where people gathered.
In conclusion to the one-day event, experts and participants agreed that deepening the conversation around security sector governance and countering radicalism is critical if the region is to achieve peace and security.